Hi everybody, welcome back to TEW2020. This is AWA Revival. It's Tuesday, week 1 of April 1991. This is the first show after our big event, which was Showdown. So let's just get straight to it really. There's a couple of bits I want to show you after this, but let's get on with the show. I've already, as normal now, to kind of speed things up, gone through everything. Here we go then. We open up with our usual in-studio segment with Eric Bischoff and John Tollis opening the show. They also talk about Showdown, what happened there, and they talk about tonight's card, or as I've written there, Toit's card. Okay. Ricky Steamboat also joins them in the studio just to kind of mix things up, make things a bit different. You know, Ricky Steamboat is likely to become, I can't remember if I told you this or not yet. I'm sure I did because I've written it in the notebook. But Ricky Steamboat will be taking the belt off of Bundy. So we're kind of trying to make him a bit more relevant. So he joins them in the studio just for this particular week. Rating of 48. And then Dangerous Danny opens the show in-ring wise with Ken Shamrock. And it's Dangerous Danny getting the win in 8 minutes 45 by submission with a Boston Crab. Dangerous Danny and Ken Shamrock have pretty good chemistry. That's good to see. Overall rating of 40. So if we can get them both over, possibly a match for the future. After the match, Al Snow is backstage chatting to Buddy Lee Parker when Dangerous Danny walks past. Now, Dangerous Danny is wearing a mask, but Al Snow kind of thinks, I recognise that guy. The way he walks, I'm sure I've seen that guy before somewhere. I know him. And he doesn't really think much about it, but he just thinks, maybe someone I wrestled on the circuit. Don't know, can't remember. Anyway, doesn't really matter. There's that segment. Rating of 26. Wasn't expecting much, but it's just, and it has lost heat storyline wise, but it has advanced part of the story where I want to go with this one. You can probably all guess. Then we've got the news segment. Ken Resnick introducing promos from Billy Jack Haynes, Coco Beware, Rick Rude, and John Nord. Really disappointing rating of 34. Yeah. Everything's kind of disappointing at the moment with our storylines, but there we go. Yeah, 34. This was just to get our usual news segment on the show and just use a few people that weren't otherwise being used. Buddy Lee Parker then takes on Ricky Steamboat. Decent match. A decent reaction from the crowd and subpar wrestling. Of course it wasn't a decent match. Ricky Steamboat gets the win in 7 minutes 12 by submission with a chicken wing. 49. 49's not bad considering. Buddy Lee Parker's unimportant. Ricky Steamboat's a star. Yeah, we've had a lot worse. It's still nowhere near where we would like to be, but there we go. King Kong Bundy is then in the ring, cutting a promo with Nick Bockwinkel, although it's Bockwinkel doing most of the talking. I've put a D in front of Steamboat there, oh well. But Steamboat interrupts, and he challenges King Kong Bundy for the championship at Super Clash, which will be happening at the end of week 4 of April. Dan Severn teams with Tito Santana to take on Rick Rude and Scott Hall. This really was mainly to get Scott Hall over, teaming with someone who's, a star, give him the victory against, someone else who's a star, and obviously Dan Severn. So good heat, but subpar wrestling. Rick Rude and Scott Hall defeated Dan Severn and Tito Santana in 12 minutes 23 when Scott Hall pinned Dan Severn with a handful of tights. Yep, we had to have him win by cheating. This storyline as well, of course, was involved. Another reason really to put these two guys in. And it looks like it gained heat. And we don't have many of our storylines gaining heat, so I'm pleased with that. John Tollis then interviews Rick Martel ahead of his match against Big John Studd, which is next. Rating of 45. And the match gets 46. Yeah. Not much to say. Good heat, decent wrestling. Martel gets the win in 8 minutes 45 by submission with the Boston Crab. Would have been tough to get the Boston Crab on Big John Studd, but he did it. Rick Martel is currently our only major star, and we need to keep him there because we haven't got any other major stars. Bam Bam Bigelow and Kevin Von Erich then have pre-match promos ahead of their match, which is coming up next. It's our main event. Not really expecting much out of it until we start getting some more people over and getting a few more major stars. we're kind of running out of people to have in our main events. So yeah, I know I can repeat matches, and maybe a lot of promotions did do that in those days. I try to avoid it if I can, but we are kind of running out of major stars and stars to pair with, really. But 39 for the promos, and the match 41. Yeah, it's not going to turn our fortunes round. Decent reaction from the crowd, subpar wrestling. Bam Bam Bigelow gets the win in 12 minutes 26 by pinfall with a diving headbutt. We want to get Bam Bam Bigelow over. That was just completely the idea here, to give him the win. Post-match, Scott Hall kind of appears at the, I want to say ramp, but probably wasn't a ramp, was it? It was a curtain. Appears at the curtain, and he's blatantly just heading to the ring because he's currently in a feud with Kevin Von Erich. But Bob Backlund comes out, and he basically intercepts him, and just kind of convinces him it's not the right thing to do. Just leave it alone. Do it in the ring. Do these things properly. Obviously, Bob Backlund is in the story with Bam Bam Bigelow, so kind of, although nothing's really happened, you would connect that storyline up. Rating 35, overall 39. Emails: Dave Finley injured. Calgary 7 unhappy. Whatever happens, we don't want to lose our TV deal. Got to do something here. I think we might fail at this save. Got some decisions, and this is what I wanted to show you. I have offered contracts to quite a lot of people. These two I will go ahead and just sign, and then I'll show you what else I've done and my reason behind it. So, Mike Davis and Barry Horowitz, we'll just bring them in. Okay, we've also offered contracts out to these guys. Now, we don't have a lot of money, but we're paying them handshake deals, so we don't pay them unless we use them. The main reason is that they all have positive attributes. We spoke recently a few times about how our backstage morale is literally on the floor. If it could go any lower, it would. And I think that's affecting performances, and that's affecting ratings. So we need to somehow turn it around. Now, there's a danger, obviously, that all these guys with positive attributes will also become unhappy, but these guys will increase our chances of getting positive backstage, whatever they call them, backstage incidents. It's kind of like, this is a desperate hope that if we can get more positive people on the roster and they then outweigh the negative people on the roster, unfortunately the negative people are the better wrestlers, but hey, we might be able to turn our backstage rating round. I don't know if that's going to work, but we've got to try it because we're kind of sorting our money situation out. It's still going to take a long time, but this whole alliance thing, it's going to take a long time, but I think we will get there. We might have to suffer dropping down to small. We just might have to. The idea of this save was to revive the AWA. That might mean taking 2 steps back in order to take 3 steps forward in the future. I mean, we are struggling for ratings. Now our TV network is getting unhappy with ratings, so we could end up losing our TV deal, which would... I mean, to be fair, our TV deal doesn't make us much money. Where's finance? Let me go back to the finance. So, I mean, that's nothing, right? Ticket sales, okay, we'll lose a bit because we won't have TV shows, but it's the big events, and really we're kind of going to be reliant on this alliance thing, kind of going to be reliant on that. If we lose our TV deal, we'll struggle to get another one because generally TV companies don't want to touch you for a long time if you've had one be dropped. Who wants to pick up a TV show that's been dropped because of bad ratings, right? So yeah, there is that danger, but it will be what it will be, and we'll have to kind of just live with it. Next episode, we will probably very likely, go through our pre-booking for Super Clash. We've already got 3 matches. I think we had a 4th match written down in the notebook as well, but it was a tag team match, and we haven't got the full teams yet. But so far, Bigelow against Backlund. That we end that story, if I remember rightly. Bundy against Steamboat, where Steamboat takes the belt, and then Rick Rude, Tito Santana, which also we end that story there. So yeah, that will do for me for now. Take care, everybody. I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.